come back over here and talk only. So once the intro is finished, then I can go to ladies' opinions, and I was supposed to be sharing that from the beginning. So it just went automatically to my ladies' opinions. So let's see if this works. Please let me know in the chat over at Facebook and YouTube that you can hear me. All right. Looks like, okay, I joined. Okay, anybody want to join me for the topic while I set the topic up? That wants to join the conversation. Let me start sharing to everybody so I can get some more people in here. We can start talking about this topic. Is it necessary? Why are you always declining me, Sonny? Is it necessary? Conflict to have a healthy relationship. Is it necessary? Give your opinions in the chat. That is the topic tonight. This was taken from Zoe's show last night. I got to look at it today. I kind of fell asleep because I've been tired and running myself ragged. So, but I got to listen to it today, and I love the topic, and that's the topic that we're going to be discussing today. Okay, Chris, you still working? That's fine. So I'm just putting it out there to people who may want to join. And if you want to join the conversation, please be in the chat because I can respond to the chat. Even if you can't be up here to talk, just talk to me in the chat. That is fine. I respond to you in the chat. That is quite all right with me. All right. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'm still sending out invites because, you know, I don't come on consistently every Thursday. I haven't been on all summer. So I have to send out invitations because nobody know I'm on here. Don't nobody know I'm on here unless I put it out. So that I'm doing right now. I'm putting it out there. I'm trying to see if people can join the conversation. Zoe started the conversation yesterday with relationship conflict. Is it healthy? Is it necessary? I think so. What do y'all think? I think it's necessary. I think it's something that has to be in there, else how do you grow? I think conflict is the most effective way for somebody to learn to grow. Pain is the most effective way to help somebody grow. There are other ways. I'm not saying there are not other ways. I just said the most effective way. Like if you tell a child that something is hot and they don't believe you and they like whatever, I'm going to go touch it anyway. Forget you, girl, or boy, or mama. Okay, I'm done sharing it. Hey, okay. So I'm sending out some invites. Come join the conversation. Do y'all see the topic? The topic right now. The topic. I'm asking questions. I want opinions. Requests to send to join. I'm sending out requests to join if you want to join the conversation. This was the topic yesterday on Zoe What Show. Is relationship conflict necessary to maintain a healthy relationship? So, anybody want to come up here? You can come up here and talk, or you can talk to me in the chat. Doesn't matter. Whichever one is good for you. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to play a little clip from the show. All right, yes. If you don't agree with, please come up here. Come up here and tell me why you don't agree. Yes. I put a request in. Come up here and let me know why you don't agree with that. What's up, Rock? That is the question. Is relationship conflict necessary to maintain a healthy relationship? So I'm going to play this clip for everybody. And after I play this clip, I want y'all to give me your opinion. Let me turn up the volume all the way so make sure that y'all can hear it. Okay? Let me turn up the volume up here to make sure y'all can hear it. And let me know in the chat that y'all can hear what I'm about to play. I'm sorry, y'all. It was supposed to start at... I started it too soon. I started it too soon. Come on. Okay. I started it too soon. It's supposed to start right here. If I could get it to turn, you know, stuff don't want to cooperate. It's like, hey, I'll cooperate when you are mocked doing it, but when you really want to do it on live, I won't cooperate. So I'm going to have to let this play in my ear because I can't have this music playing. But let's listen. What can a relationship look like in terms of positive and negative emotion? You might say, well, utopia, nothing but positive interactions. It's like, no. Imagine you get people to code the interactions they have with their partner during the day. You sample it. You say, was that interaction positive or negative? And then what you're trying to do is predict the longevity of the relationship. Okay, so here's the data. If it falls under 5 positive interactions to 1 negative interaction, the relationship doesn't continue. Fair enough. Too much negative. That's easy to understand. If it exceeds 11 positive to 1 negative, the relationship doesn't last. Why? No challenge. Right? What do you want from your partner? Bliss? No, you don't. You want periods of peace punctuated by a good fight. And that because that means you respect them, means you have something to offer each other, and it means that you're both growing. And so you don't want the fight to be too dramatic because, well, then you retreat, you can't settle it. But the person that you can completely map and only does positive things for you, it's like, A, you don't know that person. B, they're not communicating with you, nor you with them. Maybe they're just subordinating themselves to you or you to them. And you're not growing. You want someone who can, a real relationship is a wrestling match. It's a grappling phenomena that you both emerge transformed from. And that's what people want. They don't want a pushover. Not unless there's something wrong with them. A narcissistic person who never wants to be challenged. We want a partner who does nothing but deliver exactly what they're told to deliver. But they will mistreat them beyond belief, and perhaps deservedly so. Wow. Whoa, Jordan Peterson. His name is Jordan Peterson. And I guess he did a study. Look him up. Look his name up. Jordan Peterson. And what he was trying to say, or what I got from what he was trying to say, was when they did their study, when you have about 5 negative interactions and 1 positive interaction, of course, those people are never going to talk again. That's way more negative than positive. But he also pointed out that in the study, they had 11 positive interactions and 1 negative, and that relationship still didn't last. Why is that? If this is so unagreeable, why is someone who is with someone who has an abundance of positive interaction but only one negative still don't end up staying together. Why do you think? Because who wants a pushover? Who wants somebody that you can just always get everything and always tell them what to do every step of the way? For real? You want that? You want that. You don't want somebody letting you know when you're wrong. So the people who don't agree with the part about conflict can help you grow, what's your reaction to that? Come on. Come up here and talk to me, y'all. It's faster than typing. Instead of typing, you just talk. Ah, I'm getting cold. This fan I got up here is making me cold. And eloquently spoken, I might need I'm going to be ordering some new shirts, and I might need a sweater this time. I'm losing some weight, so I need a new size. Okay, Miles, I guess you would have to define conflict. Thank you, Chris. It's my daughter's crown. Now, what if the only way that I would want someone who never ever gave me a challenge, because conflict can be defined as a challenge. Conflict doesn't necessarily have to be gut-wrenching and going into your gut. But conflict, a change, something that somebody else sees and telling you that you're wrong about it. To me, that's healthy. Like, I want someone who sees a different perspective than me to let me know how they see what I did and if it was wrong or not. If this person just lets me do something wrong and never stands up to me in private and says, at least, not in public, but in private, say, you know what, I think you could have handled that better. I think that this situation could have been handled better, and maybe you could have did this, or maybe we could have solved it in this type of way, or something like that. I'm not talking about conflict where somebody is calling you names and they talking down to you. I'm not talking about that conflict. I'm talking about conflict that does make you uncomfortable, because a lot of people want to be comfortable in a relationship. But you never grow if you stay comfortable. You have to get a little bit uncomfortable in order to grow and shift and move and change. That's what I mean by conflict. So he also said relationship is like a wrestling match. I got to put on this jacket, y'all. This fan is really making me cold. Ugh. So I lost some more weight, y'all. So I'm gonna need another shirt, but y'all need to go to Eloquently Spoken. Stand up. Y'all need to go to Eloquently Spoken and get your shirts. I should have ironed it. Yeah, it's not ironed, but I did get it out the dryer and put it on. Representing. So I was a little bit cold there. So what do y'all think when it comes to that conflict? Do you think that type of conflict is necessary to maintain a healthy relationship? What about the part where he said a relationship is like a wrestling match? Thank you, boo. Life, relationship is like a wrestling match. Somebody is like, this day and age, that's what it feels like right now. This day and age, women is trying to compete with men, men is trying to compete with men, women want to be women. I mean, women want to be men, men want to be women. It's like they wrestling to see who's on top. I don't necessarily want that type of relationship where I'm wrestling niggas all the time. But I do want somebody who's going to challenge what I'm saying differently, even if they're wrong. If I love the person who's telling me, and if their intentions are coming from a space of love, then I should be okay with that type of conflict, right? So somebody define positive conflict. Does anybody know the definition of positive conflict? Miles, okay. Eloquently spoken, but it doesn't have to be seen as conflict. But yeah, I guess if you don't want to call it that word, but it is, because somebody is challenging what you're saying, so it's conflict. But if you don't want to call it conflict because you don't like that word, then I understand what you're saying. Miles says, oh wait, why does disagreement have to be conflict? Because it is. When you disagree, that's a conflict. We don't agree. It doesn't have to be like mad, I'm calling you names to be a conflict. Like there's stuff that's called conflict of interest, and it doesn't, you know that, and it doesn't have to be upsetting or mean, or it could just be a conflict. Yeah, conflict usually has a negative connotation. Yes, I want my partner to always tell me the truth or tell me their opinion or on matters, but I wouldn't call it conflict, but it is. But it is. So positive conflict is constructive in nature. It produces new ideas. It solves continuous problems. It provides an opportunity for people and teams to expand. So that definition, you can take it and put it towards relationship. And that is conflict. When people do not see the same and they're not seeing eye to eye, that's conflict. Not the same. Conflict. It's not the same. So, and conflict can be positive. So yes, no, I'm not going into a relationship hoping on conflict. I'm going into a relationship to learn from the conflict, because no one is going to please you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Somebody's going to get on your nerves. It's going to be some type of conflict. You're not going to agree on something. Somebody's not going to see your side. That's going to happen. So to me, you should deal with it in a positive way. You should deal with it and try to have some in a positive way, and that is called conflict. But I mean, if y'all want to go and Google it, you can. So are you going into relationships hoping for conflict? No, I already read that. Okay. An example of a positive conflict. Okay. Let's give a positive conflict example. Maybe in relationship. Let's give a positive conflict example in relationship. And I am going to have a sip of my wine. Glory Wine. Go to Wine Shopping Home / Yannick Taylor. And this is a Chardonnay I'm drinking today. It's the Glory Wine for the veterans. Donation goes to the veterans. So positive conflict is kind of like how to deal with one another, you know, like how to handle one another carefully. Like, and it can be conflict. It can be called for conflict. And relationship conflict is normal. It's necessary. And it helps us feel more connected to our partner. And the only way it does is if we handle it in a healthy way. Positive, healthy conflict. Not talking about negative conflict, not talking about talking down at somebody, calling people names, telling them they ain't shit, not talking about telling them they stupid, calling them a dumbass, calling them a dumbass, calling them, not that. That's not positive conflict. So I feel like in conflict, right, the positive one is what you really need to maintain a health. So in this episode, he asked some questions. Zoe Williams. If you don't know who Zoe Williams is, I don't know where you've been on my channel, because I talk about Zoe Williams all the time, and he's on my Facebook channel all the time. So, Zoe Williams said a good point. Do anybody feel like in today's society, or the way we were raised, to handle relationship, like to handle conflict, we were raised to like run away from it? In today's society, and probably back in the days too, we kind of raised to run away from conflict. What y'all think about that? What do you think about that? Do you think you was raised to run away from conflict? Or you think you was raised to stand in conflict and figure it out, come up with solutions? That's what I want to know. In 2022, were we trained to run away from conflict in our culture? I think we were. What's up with ghosting? Ghosting is popular this day and age, right? That's what we do this day and age. You don't want to talk to somebody, you don't have to. You can just ghost them. I don't want to deal with that nigga. I'm just ghosting. Excuse me. That's what we do. Let me go back to this. That's what we do. That makes sense, Bloom and Ebony said. What is your right? It's a delay. So I don't know what I was saying for you to say absolutely not, and that's your right, because it's a delay. Okay. I have an article that says conflict is in a relationship can occur when couples try to resolve differences. When research conducted by Dr. John Gottman shows that most issues are perpetual, meaning they can't be resolved. The goal of conflict then is not to resolve differences, but to manage differences. So we manage conflict now. They kind of changed it in the psych world from resolving conflict to managing conflict, because conflict never goes away. Even though y'all may think that it's a negative connotation, conflict can be positive. Look it up. I'm not making it up. It's something called positive conflict. Look it up, Miles. You can protect your peace, but if you keep running away from something that's trying to tell you to change or grow up in something, it's going to keep coming back. I feel like that. So I think like when people say, I'm staying away from this person because I'm just protecting peace. No, you just running away from whatever that person was supposed to be telling you about yourself. So this person you feel gives you stress. Why do they give you stress? It's because of triggers inside of you that you haven't resolved. I mean, that's how I see it. Not everybody sees it like this. This is my and only, just my opinion. I am not a therapist. So, in my opinion, going back to that, when I hear people say protecting my peace and I want to stay away from this person, I feel like it's something about that person that they haven't dealt with, that how that person makes them feel in that way at the time is a trigger for them that they haven't healed from and they haven't dealt with. And that's why that person bothers them. Because if you were truly healed all the way, nobody else would bother you. And we always gonna be healing. We are something that Zoe calls a whip. A work in progress. We are a whip. Even at 78 years old, you're a whip. You're a work in progress. Conflict in relationship is normal. Go to any therapist and they'll tell you that conflict is normal and positive conflict is healthy. Look it up for yourself. He also talked about how we need to call our partners to the floor sometimes. Not saying in public, but we need to call them to the floor. We need to tell them our opinion of what's going on. And if we respect their opinion, then we'll listen to it. And it can be a positive experience. It can be a growing experience instead of turning it into a battle of who's more tired and who's more stressed out or who does more. So stay focused on the argument or stay focused on the conflict when you're in it. That's the hard part. When you're in conflict, staying on point about what you're conflicting about. Not bringing stuff from 2 weeks ago because you ain't flushed the toilet, so I'm bringing that up too. So when you are dealing with conflict positively and not running away from it, you can grow. I don't want people to think that I'm saying that the negative conflict is something that somebody should always absolutely have in order to grow. No, But I feel like pain is really something that does help people grow. Something that's immediate and does help people grow. Though ghosting doesn't always have to be a situation related to conflict. That's two different things. I'm talking about the conflict. I'm talking about when people have conflict, they usually ghost people. That's what I'm saying. In relationship, they're dealing with each other. They don't like what that other person did, said, made them feel. Most people, sometimes, now I ain't gonna say most people, I would say some people, what Zoe says, some banal. Some people may ghost people because they don't like the way they made them feel. You know how sometimes when you're sitting and you're talking with somebody, and when you're talking with them and when you leave them, if you have this not so good feeling inside, you'll be like, I don't want to talk to them no more because it didn't really make me feel good. Has anybody ever felt that? Right? Instead of using it negatively, instead of using that part negatively, the person walked away from the conversation, you walked away from the conversation, and you are not still feeling, you're still feeling uneasy about it, right? You're still feeling uncomfortable about it. Guess what happens? You start to think differently about it. Just because you are uncomfortable, that situation, you start to look at it in a different perspective. That's what I mean by growing. That's what I mean by conflict forcing you to grow. Conflict helping you to grow. Doesn't have to be always something where somebody is being abusive. Not talking about that type of conflict. Calling our partner to the floor. Can we do that? It's difficult. Yes. Can it be seen as nagging sometimes? Yes. Because it's the way you say it. It's the way you call your partner to the floor that will have them determine whether or not it's nagging or it's something that they can learn from. And I am not perfect because I struggle in this area of the way that I try to call my partner to the floor. I struggle in that area. I complain more. And I say it in a way of complaining because that's the way he's perceiving. So I don't feel like I'm saying it in a complaining way. But if that's the way he's perceiving it, how can I tell him that it's not true? The only thing I can say that is not my intention and to change the way that I'm talking to him so he won't perceive it in that way. But that's if I care how he perceives it. Now, when you're in a relationship and somebody doesn't change the way when you ask them to, change in the way you're talking to them and they don't change, it's because they really don't care how you see them talking to you. And I don't think that they don't love you or something like that, but some people just don't care about certain things. It comes to like they see certain things differently. Okay. Let me go back. Okay. So you choose to start conflict? No. I'm not saying that you choose to start conflict. I'm saying that when you are with your partner, right? And you care about them. You want them to grow up. They value your opinion. You see something that you think that they might listen to you about, and you stand up to them in private. That's what I mean. I don't mean start a conflict. I think y'all keep trying to bring it to the negative, and I'm trying to, I don't know how to get out the positive, because that's why I said I struggle with that. That's what I struggle with. Because sometimes I say things in a way that people will take it in an attitude in a way. And really, I'm just talking, just passionate, and I'm just excited and stuff like that. So it's how you start the conversation. And you're not starting it to have a negative conflict. You're starting to have positive conflict. There's such thing as positive conflict. Please look up positive conflict, y'all. Miles, I understand what you are saying, but I just don't think I like how you are saying it. I try not to have conflict in my relationship, but yes, discussions, opinions, point of views are important. Okay, when your discussion and your opinion is not the same as theirs, that's conflict. You just don't like the word conflict. You always make it negative. You associate conflict as negative. Conflict can be positive. So discussions can be a conflict. People can have a discussion on different sides, and that's a conflict because it's not the same. It's different. So an opinion, you can have a different opinion. That can be a positive conflict interaction if you make it. It doesn't have to be negative. That is what I'm trying to portray. That is what I'm trying to get through for you not to see. Hey, Carl, come up here. Please, y'all. Come up here and talk to me. Don't let me sit up here and talk to myself. Come on, y'all. I don't like to hear myself talk the whole time. A lot of times I feed off of the other person who's talking with me. So if you want to come up here and give me your opinion of what I'm talking about, that would be great. And I missed a lot of stuff there, I see, because I was trying to look at okay. That's all about effective communication. Assertive doesn't mean nagging or complaining. Expression assertive is positive. I got it. We can hope there's not conflict, but when it doesn't happen, it's important to know how to manage it and work through it in a positive way. Yes. Yes, discussions can lead to conflict. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm just seeing all of this. Oh, you working. Okay, Chris. Why do you want to use the word conflict so bad? Miles, I accepted you, Carl. What happened? It said you're not able to join. I accepted you. I don't know why I didn't go. So I got the topic and the wording from, hey, Carl.
Hey, what up?
I got the topic. What's up? I got this topic
nice
from
tiara. Nice tiara. Nice tiara.
It's my daughter. She let me borrow it. It was her birthday Tuesday, y'all. And she let me borrow this one because I had bought her a different one. So she let me borrow it.
And I understand why you say conflict. I definitely can relate and understand why you use the word conflict. It's not to be a shock or whatever. The word conflict doesn't have to automatically mean the negative. You're using it in the term to say, I'm not responsible for how you want to interpret or translate my assertiveness, my passion of what I'm saying. I can't be responsible for how you want to interpret it in the negative. So I'm leaving space open for you to see that it's not negative. But if you choose to, that's your business. I'm not going to take responsibility on what you do. But conflict is just one of them words that's, people are triggered by it because they automatically think that if there's a conflict, that means we don't agree. No, not necessarily. The conflict could be your understanding or interpretation.
But it has to be some type of not meeting eye to eye in order for it to be
No,
conflict.
no.
But what I'm saying is, in order for it to make it positive conflict, because it can, in order to make it positive conflict, it just has to be the way you talk to the person to me. Like
Do you know how to
in
fry
the way
chicken?
that you're talking to that person is what makes it positive.
Do you know how to make fried chicken?
No.
Oh shit. Anybody in here know how to make fried chicken?
I've seen it made.
Okay. See, everybody has a different way of making fried chicken. It's not a right or wrong. You just make it differently than I do. So it's the same thing with conflict. We just approach the solutions differently, but it's not a right or wrong. That's why I said it doesn't have to be a conflict of not meeting eye to eye. You just have a different approach. Think of driving. Some people drive with both hands. Some drive with one hand. Some right up on the steering wheel. Some laid back. Everybody have a different way of driving. It's not a right or wrong.
Yeah. So today our topic is relationship conflict necessary to maintain a healthy relationship? If you want to come up here and give your opinion, that would be great. Earlier we heard a clip from Jordan Peterson. Look him up. He did a study and he talked about people who had relations of, like, say you have 5 negative interactions with somebody but 1 positive. That relationship didn't last. Why? Because it's a way overwhelming negative interaction than positive, of course. But he also said that they had a couple who had 11 positive interactions and 1 negative, and they still broke up. Why do you think that?
Because they was looking for perfection.
No. Because conflict is necessary. A pushover.
Yeah.
Why do you don't 11 positive, only 1 negative, only 1 time in our 12 interactions that you actually said something negative? Not negative, but
out of 10 things,
disagreeing. Yeah.
Out of 10 things, there's 7 things I like about you, and there's 3 things I don't. So what? That doesn't end the relationship. That doesn't mean it's not supposed to be, and none of that negative crap. It just means that we are not perfect, and you have the majority vote. So go for it.
And we are a work in progress from birth to the grave. We are. Hey, Grover, what's up? Come up here and talk to us about this.
Never stop learning.
We talking about relationship conflict. Some people don't think it's necessary. You're supposed to have roses and smelly, pretty things all the time. But no, it has to be some type of conflict, some type of calling your partner to the floor. Can your partner check you, Carl?
I always say that there's nothing wrong with someone telling you, "Hey, man, you know, I don't see nothing wrong with that," because we all see each other differently. We may see something that, like, somebody might see something that I did wrong or said something wrong, whatever. It's okay. You know, it's your opinion, but okay, I welcome it. I welcome it. I'm not going to deny it or make it seem like it's a bad thing.
My partner can check me in private.
Oh, only in private?
You can check me all you want in private.
Only in private, though?
Only in private.
No, I don't know about that.
If you check me in front of my children, we arguing. We having a full out whatever in front of the children. So don't do that in front of the children.
Only in private, though? Right. Okay, I'll go with that.
You know why? Because then they look at me the way that you check me.
Right.
They look at me in a different, you know, they, like my son. My husband sometimes walks by, slap the ass. What my son do one time? Try to do the same shit.
Yeah.
They follow. They
It
follow
undermines
you.
the authority.
Yeah. So they like, well, daddy did it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Wow.
So now, if I'm in danger of something, that's different. I feel like if we are in public and we're in danger and my husband needs to tell me to, hey, you gotta do whatever, yeah, then yes. But if we are in public or we are in front of our children, I feel like it should be team, whatever it is I'm saying. And then when we go to the back, when it's just us and they sleep, you can tell me how I should have did it different.
Right. Well, I'm agree halfway because just like, children should see disagreements and see how you handle it, uh, crisis and such. I agree with that for that part because how you gonna lead by example if they don't see it? They have to see how you conflict resolutions, how you resolve things, how you handle things, so that way they can imitate it. That's the hope for it. But we
But
also
they
know,
can't see division.
right?
They
We also
can't see you chastise me. That's what I'm saying. That's not positive conflict. Yes, children need to see positive things when you are having a disagreement about it. But when it is checking me in a way that's making me seem like I am crazy in front of my children, mm-mm.
hmm no, I get it because
Then how do I
you're
have any
still
authority when you're not
that
there?
exactly. So yeah,
I
I
have
get
no
that.
authority when you're not there. If that happens.
Mm. And we all know how that goes. When your father get home, they don't listen to you all day, but the moment the man walks in, all of a sudden they on their best behavior.
And this is exactly why I do that with my son all day.
Uh-huh. Well,
Now,
we all
and I
been through it.
think girls and boys take it differently. Now, my daughter sees how mad I get at my son, so she does the opposite.
Oh.
But so that's why she hardly gets in trouble because she see when he does what we don't tell him to do, the opposite, he gets all types of yelling and in trouble. So she does the opposite. But my son sees my husband say, well, why are you doing this? And why are you doing that in front of him? So when he's gone, I tell him stuff to do. He's just ignoring me. Why?
Mm.
Because my husband
He set the
talks,
stage,
because
right?
my husband would say, oh, why are you doing this and why are you doing that? So mommy, whatever mommy say don't matter. Because if daddy could question her in front of me and why you doing
Right.
this and why you doing that, I ain't gotta listen.
And he doesn't reinforce the factor that you're an authority figure in the house and what you say matters and means just as much as what he says. So he has to
He does
enforce
it
that.
every once in a while. And you
No, he
can't
has
do
to do
that
that a
with
lot.
children.
He can't do that once in a while.
Thank
That got to
you.
be a lot.
He does that when he recognizes it. But a lot of times when it's like an immediate reaction and he's just waking up and he hear me yelling at my son, he automatically asks me, why am I yelling? Instead of what happened. Like if you
That
came
requires
and said
consistency.
what happened or what's going on, then I
Uh-huh.
tell you. But if you come in there like, why are you yelling? What is it? Then
Uh-uh.
I'm attacking you then.
No, it's babe.
Because
What's the
you coming
problem?
at me like, why are you in there yelling? Oh,
No.
really? Do you know what the hell's going on in here?
Uh-huh. So yeah, it's
That's what I
supposed to
mean.
be. It must be a consensus of, babe, what's the problem? Can I help? Is there something I can interject with, or whatever? Or you got this. A lot of times, that's that I try to express to a lot of dudes. When you're in a relationship or when you're in a marriage, it is very paramount that you, um, especially in front of kids, um, you got this. I don't have to do everything. You got this. You have to reinforce that the woman is just as capable, because if you always make her look like victim in distress, then
Mm-hmm.
that's what the kids are going to be shaped to believe. So there's a fine
Mm-hmm.
line of making it paramount that a kid knows that, yo, mom can do this. She's good. She got this. I don't have to always do everything.
Yeah. So, Carl,
Hmm.
because I said this, but can your partner at least pull you to the side in private and confront you? Because I feel like that's
Yeah.
better.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Does your partner intentions matter when they are trying to check you?
Well, the whole thing now, you're opening up the door of trust. So therefore, it has to matter because you trust their judgment just like you trust your own. Remember, the whole purpose of having a partner is that they have your best interests at heart until they prove otherwise. So, of course, what they checking on, or what what they see through their lens, it does matter. It may not make sense. I don't care if you're a man or woman. It may not make sense, but it does matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I've
So,
been in a lot of positions like that where I'm glad I listened to people, rather they was high, drunk, rather they was younger, older, rather they was in relationships or never was in one, whatever. I'd like to take a little bit of everybody, but as long as they have my best interest in heart, of course, I'm gonna listen.
so I feel like when people intentions, or if your partner has loving intentions, then them checking you, you can take that a little bit better.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It depends on what their intentions are of why they checking me. They checking me in front of people because they trying to make me look crazy. They checking me, because they really care. They trying to save me from something. They trying to whatever. The intention matters to me.
Well, you can
And
decipher manipulation too.
yeah.
You can decipher when somebody's something and their intentions basically is to manipulate you or influence you to go in a certain vote or a certain way. It's like being predictable. And at that point,
Oh, Chris said, "How do you know your partner's intentions?" Okay, so I guess that would be something that you would talk that through. If you feel like they checking you for no reason and it's not something you agree with, then you would ask them, well, what was you thinking just before you felt like you wanted to check me? What was your reason? What was your intentions? That's how you know. I mean,
I would
and
go by
because
the
you know they
pattern of the
love you,
relationship. I
huh?
would go by the pattern of the relationship. When you have a consistency of always being protective or always and hey, you got this, being concerned and so forth. There's a consistency of a person's behavior, response, reaction in different situations that let you know if that person's intentions is for you or not.
Hmm. Okay. So we listened to some earlier, but I want a reaction to this, what he said in the show. I
Mhm.
figured out a little bit of way to try to get this into the show. Um, I'm using a different phone in order
Okay.
to hear him on here. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
I love patterns.
you love patterns.
Hmm.
What do you mean?
Patterns of people's mindset, patterns of people's behavior, people's responses, reaction. It never, it's like it. No matter what changes with an individual, there's certain patterns that still stay the same, and it follows.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. Okay, so my next question is about competitiveness in relationships, right?
Mm.
So we're gonna listen to what he talks about right here for like a minute, maybe like a minute, maybe less than a
Okay.
minute. Let's I'm on mute. No. Can you mute yourself? I can't mute you. Just needs the background. All right, here we go. Let me turn it up and let's listen to. Open up opportunities for growth. You have to remember most relationships are what I call inter-experiential. You have different experiences. I have different experiences. And even when we have similar experiences, we have different perspectives and different ways of interpreting and expressing those similar experiences. I call relationships inter-experiential. It's almost like saying they're interracial. In other words, ideologically and from different perspectives, you know, we're mixed in that way, right? So we have mixed ideas, we have mixed views. So, agree or disagree? Did you hear it?
I agree.
You agree? Do you know what he was trying to say?
I don't think that was.
This one was the experience.
It wasn't. In my opinion, it wasn't complicated. It was very, direct in what he was saying.
Oh, okay. So this one was about how people experience. Because the last show, was it the last show? I think the last show I did, and I was talking to Clement, and he was talking about how he's trying to change how he show up in relationship, because he usually show up as somebody who doesn't really care as much in relationships about what the other person is saying. So he noticed that about himself, so he's trying to change that, right?
He's trying to come in neutral.
So he's trying to care more. He's trying to train himself to care more.
Okay.
He's trying to notice when he's not caring, when he's supposed to in those situations, and he's doing differently. So he's kind of changing his behavior. Like you talk about watching people's patterns and behavior, his normal patterns to not really care. He's trying to change his normal pattern.
Okay.
So what I was explaining to him is that the reason why, even though you try to change yourself for somebody else, it may not work because it's not natural. Now, if you can develop a habit, I feel like we can train ourselves to develop a habit, within like 2 weeks to a month, you do the same thing, it becomes a habit, right? But that habit can dissipate if it's not something that's intrinsic. If it's not something that's a motivator of internal motivator. So if him wanting to change the way he shows up to people about how he cares, if it's internal, if it's something that's truly, if his intentions are truly pure because he wants to change it, because he wants to actually care, then it will last. Then he will change his pattern naturally and it'll become natural. It will become a part of him. But if it's not something that is intrinsic and it's just something because he's trying to get an outcome, it won't last. What you think?
Intellectually put.
Chris said, be more empathetic. Yes.
That
be
was a
more
good word.
empathetic.
Good.
He's trying to be
that's
more
what it is.
empathetic.
Empathy and sympathy. This is just my observation over here. People get that so confused to the point where they think it means the same. And I think that they're misdirected on what it actually means. But there is a big difference. And empathy is definitely, describing what's the name was. She was saying that he was trying to change about himself, his empathetic side. not a sympathy side.
So, as far, I mean, do you agree with that? Like, because some people feel like they can change their behavior no matter what. But do you feel like that's something that somebody is? Do you think that's what I'm saying is true, or is
I
it?
don't. I don't think it's change the behavior. I think it's influence of the behavior to change
Okay.
the influence of it all. Because, like I said, I am me regardless. I can be set in my ways. I can be acceptance to change, but the person or the influence that person give, or like I said, that's a combination of the trust and so forth, the pattern
Hmm.
that can influence me to say, you know what, I'm gonna start doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's like when you, it's like you sitting there and someone like your husband all of a sudden decides to start working out. Now he's influencing you because he's trying to encourage you to join him. So he'll bring you so you can watch, and then you can help him with the face cloth and the water, and before you know it, you be working out with him. You know what I'm saying? Because there's an influence going on, not trying to change you. You know, he's trying to influence you to say, hey, you know, if you can't beat him, join him, or hey, why not?
That was Chris was saying. Yes, on Tuesday. I think that was her
Hmm.
point on Tuesday about how when they say, "Can a woman push you to cheat?"
Yeah,
And I think that
yeah,
was her point. That
that
was
they
her
could
point. You
influence
just
you
made
to,
her point.
yeah. But I don't think when it comes to cheating though, because see, remember, just like anything that influence you, um, in relation to what Chris was saying with cheating, you still gotta have that discipline within yourself to not follow through. Just because
Hmm.
I'm in a room with 10 naked women, don't mean I gotta pull my dick out. You get what I'm saying?
That's
I
true.
have to. I mean, I have to have that discipline to be able to stand there, which I've been in plenty of positions where I'm the only guy dressed in the room and everybody walk naked. I have to have that discipline because I'm there for a reason.
Oh, because of your job. Okay.
Right. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to, join in and be influenced regardless. The discipline, and that's why I was trying to tell Chris, everything starts with self. Any decision you make starts with self. Nobody else. They can influence you, they can threaten you, they can con you, they can lie to you, they can bribe you, but the decision still comes from self.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Okay.
For real.
Yeah. When it comes, so you saying it's different when it comes to cheating? You don't think a
No,
woman can influence you?
no. Because, like I said, I was trying to get that across with Chris that you're given a pass, or shall I say an excuse, to validate why a person cheated. Why did he cheat? Because his woman wasn't giving him none. That's a valid pass or reason to go cheat. Get rid of the woman first, then you go out there and get somebody else. But if you go out there and cheat, then it's like, hmm, you're abandoning your commitment, number one, and two, you're not resolving nothing. Yeah, like I told people this week or last week, when you're faced with a problem, the worst thing you can do is allow another problem to come in to add on. You get what I'm saying? Your goal. I got a problem. Let me resolve and solve that and get rid of that before I start another one or resolve
But a
another
lot
one.
of times that's not reality, though.
Well,
We are
and this is
trying to solve 10 problems at one time. That's life.
and that's why we can't get nothing done because we're not focused, we're distracted, and we're not trying to conserve or how many problems do we take on. We're going to always have problems. You are the one that controls how many problems you create to come in. Try not to create no
That's
more
true.
problems.
That's true. That's very true.
Oh.
But sometimes human nature's dark side can take over. And they say, fuck that commitment, fuck that relationship.
Okay.
I'm going to do whatever I want. But this is going away from the topic. We're going
No,
into
it's
today's
not, because
topic.
guess what? It's still dealing with conflict resolution.
Conflict.
And the thing is this. If you and that woman is not getting along for whatever reason, like you said, out of 10 things, 7 things you like about her, 3 things you can't stand. If that's going to be your excuse to go out there and cheat on her, what happens is, suppose you get that chick pregnant that you with. Now you got your relationship problem, and now you got another problem added in. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and that's what
Where
usually
it's,
happens.
and
That
this is what.
happens. That's
So
that's not something like that's not normal. Like I've heard that happen to people. Like it's
yeah.
not like something that's not the norm. It's like we're crazy.
This is why you
People
got to have that focus and discipline to
being
remember.
married and then you messing with somebody on the side, getting them pregnant. Now you got a family
Mm-hmm.
and all these children, and now you got an outside baby family. Like really? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's just piling on stuff, piling on stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why do that? You know
Mm-hmm.
why? Because some people are selfish and unhappy, and they feel like in order to be happy, they need to cause problems.
No.
Sometimes they, like, in order to be happy, they need not to really cause problems, but they need to have something that for themselves. Like they feel like they don't have anything for themselves, and you know what? This cheating shit is for me. And I'm doing this only for nobody else, and I don't have to do anything for nobody else. And this is only my satisfaction, so I'm gonna do this shit.
A lot of time
Sometimes,
people have to leave what is detrimental to them and get with something else to improve, because like I said, it's like a domestic violence situation. You run away from the abuser so you could be with a person that doesn't abuse you. You get what I'm saying? It's necessary to, at that point, to abandon, because you're trying to get away from a problem so this way you can get to the problem solution.
true,
So
but
if a
like Joe
person was in a
says,
relationship and they're like, okay, you know what, this guy, he abuses me, I'm going to get away from him and get with someone that is not about abusing me. Well, guess what? Is that person cheating? No, they're not. They're getting away from a problem and getting to a solution. Now, in that case, that's not cheating. It's not cheating. But if you're trying to maintain both, now that's a problem. That's cheating.
well, if it's safety issues, then yeah. But other
It
than
could
a
be safe.
safety issue, it's cheating. Other than a safety issue, like if your life is in danger, then and other than that, then it's cheating to me.
Yeah, it can be interpreted as that, but sometimes it's not your life in danger. It could be your mental health is in danger. Everything doesn't always have to be physical abuse. It could be also mental health abuse.
See what I put? We are all whips.
Work in progress.
That's what
I like
that's what
that. Are
Zoe
you whipped?
said.
Are you whipped?
We all whip. We are all whip. All
Oh
right,
wow.
we are whip. We are works in progress. So even though I may see something now that I didn't see 20 years ago, I have to deal with it now. I have to suffer the consequences now because of decisions that I made 20 years ago. So I have to sit in it and deal with that shit, not run away with it, not run away from it. Like, to me, that's being more grown up than anything. But because everybody is a work in progress. I'm better than I was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I didn't think the way I think now. I didn't have different perspective than I have now. So who knows about the person that you with? You can't predict how they grow and at the rate that they grow. Just because they don't grow with you at the same rate, are you supposed to just be like, fuck them? Or do you love that person unconditionally? Because they are whips.
If the cooperation is there, the willingness there to learn, to elevate, to do things, then okay, fine. But if you don't see that, you can't force that square peg in a round hole. You could tell when a person is not trying to hear it, not trying to evolve with you, not trying to even be cooperative. So at that point, you got to make that executive decision and just dismiss them altogether. And I'm just basing everything on logic, no emotions involved, just logic, because we're talking about how does someone figure out something that is effective and sufficient, so they don't have to, be at a standstill, so they don't have to be wondering and going. Nah, this good decision. This ain't healthy for me. This ain't good for me. This ain't, in the long term, this ain't benefiting. Just cut it up. Just cut them off. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You have to eliminate the stress. You have to eliminate the problem. Okay. If you're not going to find a resolution, eliminate it.
Conflict is not going away.
No,
instead of running away from it, learn to deal with it positively. Right. How to deal with conflict in a relationship. That's our topic. Let's bring it back.
No, I got you. And when that brick wall...
How do you deal with conflict in relationship positively? Give me one thing.
Other than tough love, assertive communication. I like to put that word assertive in because a lot of people dance around it instead of just get to the point and be open and passionate about it. So assertive conversation and the willingness to be flexible. But at the same time, without being a pushover, hey, man, I told you, you ever had somebody that keep the toilet seat up and you keep repeating it? Do you mind when you finish? After a while, I'm going to stop letting you use the bathroom. You don't listen. Or I'm going to just get rid of you altogether.
Okay, well, one way to deal with conflict in relationship is to speak your piece. Like, don't hold it in.
No.
But also, you have to speak your piece in a way that's not negative. Like, watch your tone when you're speaking your piece. Not aggressively. This is what I am trying to teach myself and other people is how to communicate that's in a way that's not aggressive. And that's hard for me. So that's why I do these shows. This is what's going to be my thesis. I had to drop my class again because I'm dealing with a lot of stuff. So, but eventually, I got 1.5 credits left to graduate. So I'm gonna get it done. Gonna be done soon. Next year. So that is my thesis. How to help couples and partners communicate not in an aggressive way. Like people who are in domestic violence classes or anger management, that's what that training would be for as well. And if I don't know if I shared this on Married Ladies before or on my podcast before. I am a victim of domestic violence. So when I'm doing this project, it's mainly for people like me who have gone through domestic violence. It has to equal communication. Queen of 4 Gems. I was reading her comment.
Okay.
So it's for people like me. It's for people who want to, like, people who are the abuser can go to therapy and get therapy, right? If they really want to change, right? So I think that the therapy that I'm going to offer can help those people, women and men, and the people who are being abused. Because aggressive communication starts small, with small things. And it also starts with triggers. And if you were traumatized as a young child, if you were raised in a toxic environment as a young child, if you was raised with a mother that was narcissistic and never let you talk or whatever, we got lots of problems and issues in the Black community, right? You have triggers. So to sit up here and think that you don't have triggers, that the reason why this person irritates you is because of a trigger, then you just, that's fine. You just didn't come into that progress yet, a work in progress. Everybody sees things when they're supposed to see it.
Don't forget there's a shift in blame.
Yeah.
Don't forget the shift in blame, because sometimes
to yourself.
We blame them for what we failed to resolve within ourselves. Yes. And then sometimes it's something that they did, consciously or not, the trigger. You know what I'm saying?
Was unresolved in yourself still.
Right.
Still bringing you. Even if they cause the trigger, it still brings it back to you.
There you go.
The problem is your problem. And 5 years ago, I'd have been like, what the hell is wrong? I would have never said that. 5 years ago, I was the victim.
And that's all you knew.
That's all I knew. I have been a victim since I was 8 years old, and I've played that part all the way up until 4 years ago.
Was that easier than dealing with it and resolving it within self?
Of course.
That's what most people do. Take the easy way out.
Of course it was. And the only and I think I hold back a lot of my opinion sometimes when I'm talking with people, because I know that everybody sees things at their own time. And the way I see things, people may not see it right now. They may see me as being or being negative or being, but I feel like
I'm not responsible for other people's interpretation.
Yeah, some people may see that part because I'll say things like this. Relationship conflict is necessary to maintain a healthy relationship. And they'll be like, no, I don't agree with that. Instantly.
No, you're not supposed to be thinking about what will they think. Don't give a damn about what people think. That's your assertive presumption. That's your fact. And now it's up to them to interpret it any way they want. But it doesn't take away from, that's a true fact. Just because they don't agree with it, just because a person don't agree with it, doesn't change that it's still a fact.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that, but I feel like everybody will see it when they do, and I feel like sometimes I be trying to rush people to see it, so I can't rush people to see it.
Oh,
So I have
oh,
to learn that lesson. You know
hey,
what I'm saying? So I can people will see things at their own time. So sometimes so sometimes I try to not say things because
it
people may
wouldn't
not
matter
see it the same way.
when
So
when you was
another
in
way
when
to
you was in
deal with
school. When you was in school, teacher said 2 + 2 is 4. You still sitting there with a confused look on your face. So she writes it up on the chalkboard, and you're looking at it, and at some point it clicks and say, "Okay, 2 + 2 is 4." Or you still gonna look at the board and still put 5.
yeah, I mean some people do that. Some
Oh,
people do that out of habit.
see, that's their interpretation. So they
Some
don't
people
graduate,
do it out of habit because of what they've been taught. And
and
then
they
some
won't
people do it
graduate.
out of opposite. Some people do it out of opposite habit. Because you
Well,
know how some people come from trauma, so they will
yeah.
automatically do the opposite of what their trauma was
Hmm.
and say that that's the way. That's also toxic to me.
Well,
Like
I'll
they
tell
don't
you what.
see it that way
Two
to
plus two
me.
is 4. If you see it on a bulletin board and they're trying to teach you, you keep saying 5, you won't graduate. You'll
You
just
know
be the
why?
dumbest motherfucker.
Because I proved to myself that making a decision on who I marry, basing it on whether or not they got along with their mother, was the dumbest shit in the world. But
Yes.
I based it on that because of my trauma.
Hmm. Influenced.
That's what I'm saying. So like my glasses. Trauma is like our glasses. Nobody is free from trauma. Everybody got trauma.
Of some
Small,
sort.
large, medium. Everybody got it. You know what I'm saying? We live in this world. Everybody got it. So
Hmm.
say you had like a little crack in these glasses. Forever, I will see the world cracked.
Hmm.
That's trauma.
Hmm.
That crack is trauma. So I make decisions through the instead of the whole. And that was the dumbest. But
By
I
influence,
figured it out. But it's 20 years later. But
but it's not, but see, it's really not just so you can understand, it's not really your fault because your conditioning growing up and as you got older, you was already conditioned to
no, I
believe
was
what?
traumatized by the domestic violence.
No, I understand that, but separated from
So
that,
that is why I went all the way to the other side. So that's human. People get
yeah, but there's
traumatized
one,
and they say, "Oh, I'm gonna just go all the way 180, and
yes,
then that'll
but
be the
but
right way."
but regardless of trauma or not, one thing was still conditioned in you, and that is to approach things logically with emotion and not logically without emotion. Do you know how things would be if you approach things logically without emotions, how your decision making would be then?
But our emotions are are influenced by the cracks in our glasses. So how can we
Mhm.
make logical decisions?
Oh, it's possible to make a lot of logical decisions without emotion.
No, I'm talking about how can we make it without trauma? How can we make logical decisions with the cracks?
You can. What do you
So
think fight or flight?
wait a
What do,
minute, wait a
what do you
minute, wait
think?
a
What
minute,
do you
wait
think
a
fight or
minute,
flight
wait
is?
a minute. I want to say another thing of how to deal with conflict in relationships. I was saying that it's how we speak our piece, but how you watch yourself also when you are
Mhm.
in uncomfortable moments when you're in a relationship. So When somebody pisses you off and you are in an uncomfortable space, in a comfortable moment, the way you react is your true self and true intention. So when you can see yourself about to react in a negative way because of the trigger that triggered in you because of whatever that person said or did.
Right.
If you can actually like go up on a shelf behind your head and look at yourself and be like, bitch, don't react that way. React this way. Then that's when you start the change process.
Okay.
When you can actually see it and then change how you react in the process is when you're healing. Like that's my opinion. I mean,
No,
I don't know
got
if
you.
anybody else think, but that's just my opinion. And I've seen it. Now, it's not, I've only seen it probably once. You know, it takes time. It takes time to build that muscle, you know. I've only seen it one time so far. I've stopped an argument because I was looking on the shelf at myself and was like, bitch, you ain't mad at him. That's your trigger from your daddy. That's your trigger from missing your daddy and you blaming your daddy for other shit. So that's your shit. That's yours. That ain't his. And I
You ain't
stopped
mad
the
at him.
argument and it didn't go any further because I talked to myself on the show.
You ain't mad at him. You just hungry.
Something like that, you know. But anyway, that was actually it was. It was a trigger from a past abandonment and it wasn't him that was I was really mad at. It was my past abandonment I was mad at. And I recognized that. And to me that was astounding. And I only recognized it once in my life and to me it's still astounding. I'm going to develop muscle to where I recognize it before every argument I have. So it won't happen. So it will be either it will happen in a positive way or it won't happen at all because I know that it's not that person's fault and it's me. Like I want to be able to recognize this all the time. So that is why I do these shows. This is why I come on here every Thursday. I love talking to people. I love working it out, figuring it out. And that's another way to help yourself
because as a victim, you wasn't before you wasn't consciously aware. So now you're working out that part that makes you more consciously aware.
Do you agree that conflict can teach us a lesson or teach us to listen?
Of course. Of course.
Do you believe that conflict shows us different patterns in our own behavior?
Yep. And other people's behavior at the same time. Yep. All we got to do is focus and pay attention. It does. And it helps us grow.
When you are in conflict with your partner, are you focused more on solution outcome?
More solution than outcome. But both is the same, basically.
No, it's different.
Well, no, it's not. It is a different. I'm more solution.
Can I tell you different?
No, I already know. No. I thought there is a difference, but I just had to think for a minute. But yeah, there is a difference. More solution than outcome. Because outcome, yeah, it's a big difference.
So what's the difference between solution and outcome?
Because see, outcome can be in 3 different folds. For yourself, is it the outcome for them, or is it an equality outcome of compromise?
So when you're focused on solutions, this is what Zoe said. He said you're focused on like a bi-directional solution. Both of us getting something out of this reaction that we're having or this relationship, right? Both of us growing in this relationship, right? But outcomes are mainly unidirectional, and it's mainly I just want what I get out of it, and I don't give a fuck what anybody else gets. That's outcomes. I just want my outcome. Fuck what you want. I don't care. I just want my outcome.
Yeah. That's
So,
well said. It could be for selfish,
mm-hmm.
or it could be for pacifying, or it could be a compromise. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm. Well, but I feel like if you are about solutions, then everybody leaves happy.
Yeah.
But if you worry more about outcomes, then you only worry about yourself, and that's kind of narcissistic,
Yeah.
to me. So this last clip I'm gonna play. I thought it was the sports one. It was this one is the actual sports one. That one's about experiences. I forgot about that because I thought Clement was gonna show up, but I guess he figured his Instagram, so he's not gonna try. He's been coming for the past 3 Thursdays, and his Instagram will start working in the beginning, but then after a while it won't. Bloom and Ebony said, maybe not always happy, but they always leave feeling heard. Well, hey, as long as you feel like you've been heard, I feel like that's good as well. Okay, 3741. Okay. I'm going to 3741. And we're going to listen if I can get it.
Yeah, it's not
We're
all
going
the
to
way.
listen to this right here. This is the last one.
Okay.
And give me your opinion on this one.
You should look for the good that arises in conflict. Nobody ever taught you to look at conflict as good unless you were in competitive sports. No pain, no gain. It's hard to transfer that over to relationship. What do you mean pain? I didn't sign up for pain. 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. Let's shop.
Yeah. So, do you think most people think like that?
To a certain degree, yeah. Because you ever hear people, when they end in conversation, they're more concerned about being heard than being understood. So that's where the competition comes in. I got to have the last word, or I just want to get heard. I don't care if I'm understood. I'm not even conscious if the person understands me. I'm just trying to be heard, or I want to have the last word.
Yeah, that's true. It's like do you think like the society only condones competitive sports, like in conflict, but everything else is like they like, oh no, you can't have conflict in anything else except for competitive sport. What can conflict teach us? Carl.
Yes, ma'am. What you said?
What can conflict teach us, you think?
Growth, maturity, coexistence. 3 basic ingredients. So it's not just helping yourself, it's helping your partner. And it's a good example. It's a good example to show others.
Say it again.
No, I said it also, it's a good example to show others.
Yeah.
So when people see that you're, you know, exercise, this is how you're moving, they can emulate that or be influenced by that. And it can help the next person. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Conflict shows us different patterns of our own behavior, was one of his statements in the show. Agree or disagree? You agree or disagree, Carl?
I agree.
Oh, okay. You already answered that question. One person who came on there to talk, a caller, called in and said, conflict stimulates productive engagement. What do you think of that?
Yep, that goes to heart what I said before.
Mm-hmm. In this year, 2022, in this society, do we look at conflict as an opportunity or as toxic relating?
That depends on who's initiating.
In this day and age, in 2022, what do most people look at conflict as? Do they look at it as an opportunity or do they look at it as toxic relating? What you think?
Everything's related to toxic. When people don't get their way, they relate it to toxic.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody is taught that conflict can actually be an opportunity. That's why when I first came on here, it was a couple people that was just adamant about conflict being so negative that they didn't even want to call it conflict. They want to call it discussions, opinions, point of views. Conflict has such a negative connotation.
Of course.
But it can stimulate productive engagement. You just have to be aware of it.
That's mature audience only.
Yeah. So there was a caller that came in. I don't know. I think it was Haru Ali that came in on the show. And he said, piss someone off, find out their true nature of how they handle conflict. Agree, disagree.
Okay.
Okay. So it is 6 minutes to 12. We are at our 2-hour mark. You try to do 1 hour, but if I have somebody to talk to, I'm gonna go 2 hours. But I think we've talked this subject into depth. If anybody wants to come up, if they can, if they can't, fine, just still stay in the chat. But I wanted to give you, Carl, a chance to say whatever you need to say for your channel or whatever you about to do, and then I'll close the show out.
No, go ahead.
You good? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
So, are you going to be hosting CKQ any day?
Hopefully after the holidays, that would be nice. I would love to do that.
Okay. So did he ask you already? Or did I just ask you and tell you?
You asked me, but I kind of get to hear from him that everybody's looking.
Yes. You gotta go take a turn. Yes. So that's coming up for you. You can say that. Yes. You might see Carl on CKQ podcast Tuesdays. Right?
Yep. Yes, indeed.
All right. So I want to go end it with a quote from Dr. Mark Goldstein. Look up his book. He has a book called Just Listen. And he has other books as well. He said, stand up and defend your partner in public. Stand beside your partner in crisis. And stand up to your partner in private. And I believe in that. I believe that as long as you are doing internal work, you have healthy conflict. Healthy conflict is necessary. Positive conflict is necessary. Who wants a pushover? Who wants, something that never challenges you? You will never grow that way. I'm not talking about, again, not talking about somebody denigrating you. I'm not talking about negative conflict. I'm talking about how to deal with conflict positively. I want people to go ahead and look this subject up. I want people to go ahead and find Zoe on YouTube. I want you to go ahead and buy his books on Audible. I want you to go ahead and check out Three Married Ladies Opinions podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook group, Facebook fan page. We have 3mloshop.com. That's how I keep the podcast running right now. The podcast is not running because I need more donations. So go to 3 Married Ladies or 3mloshop.com, buy a t-shirt, buy a mask. That will help me keep my podcast running, y'all. Come next week, next Thursday, between 10 and 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just one married lady opinion and anybody else who want to share their opinion. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night. Peace.
All right.